losers. Inspire.
Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday. I am your guide, Nspired, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. And here we are on the eve of Christmas, and I have the privilege of being able to do this discussion as we do every week, and to continue on with our monthly theme, which has brought us into illuminating ourselves into the light. We have talked about rising into that inner light this month. And as we approach week 4, which this month is unique, so you get a bonus week. We got 5, so we'll close that out fully next week. But this week, week 4, we are talking about lumen integration, becoming the light that you have cultivated. So all this month, we have talked about this illumined integration, stepping into who we are. And in this 4th week, we are rising into that. We are becoming the light that we have cultivated. So our life principle talks about a master mind, right? And our life principle says that a master mind is the sacred chamber where our spirit becomes sovereign action. It reminds us that mastery is not the absence of challenges. I thought that. I know this is a lot of times what we are being told or sold on, that it's the end all be all. Once you make it here, everything goes away and everything is it. No, that's not true. It's not the absence of challenges. It is where you develop the will to keep going irregardless. You have the will to keep going, and you have the intuition to know where to go. This isn't a life without challenges. It is having the mind that knows how to walk through it. Many of our issues, 99 issues, originate within the mind. One of the universal principles is the all is mind. So what we're saying is it's all in your head. And when you can develop, as we develop ourselves and we start to step in and become illumined, we are becoming that light. We're understanding that I'm strengthening the mind. Yet I'm also removing the control that necessarily it has had on my life. So we're putting two things together, right? We talked about the heart and the mind. This is our mindset and our intuition, right? Our thoughts and then the action. We're no longer just thinking something and allowing that to create or to produce. We are going to be able to see those thoughts and then discern what we are going to allow and what we're not going to allow. So our affirmation, what we are going to affirm today, this week, is that my mind is disciplined, my choices are aligned, and my spirit is steady. I am the light I walk by. Again, we're affirming. And when we're affirming, when we're a negative, positive, one state to another. So normally we would say something negating to ourselves. I'm all over the place, disciplined enough, I'm not aligned, my steady, I don't know where to go. When we're affirming, we're putting something positive there. So that is what we're moving towards. This is the belief, the faith that we are in ourselves. No more of the I can't, more we see what happens with that, how we begin to develop. So we're saying that my mind is disciplined. We're saying that my choices are aligned and that my spirit is steady because I am the light that I walk by. And the intent for this is to integrate all of this wisdom that we've been receiving in December and really throughout the year. But just focusing on this month, all the wisdom that we've gained throughout December, we want to integrate that into a daily embodiment. Each day we wake up, each day we rise, we are now choosing how we're going to be. we are going to be inspired every day forever, right? This is us becoming that, moving into that and away from the fears, uncertainty, and doubts that kept us locked out, that kept us from in this lack mindset, in disbelief, unable to see, to feel. No, we're aligning our vision with our heart and our will so that who we are and how we live are inseparable. Who we are and how we live are becoming one. They see how you live and they understand how you live. We're putting those things together. We're going to talk and we're going to walk. And so the outcome is that we are going to have the clarity without the confusion. So before we'd be like, you know what? I'm unsure. I don't know which one of these. Now we're going to be clear. That one. We are going to have the emotion without being overwhelmed. Before our emotions might take over us. That sadness, the frustration, the fear, the anger, whatever that emotion was, it would have overwhelmed us before. Now we have that emotion, but we're not overwhelmed because we're not just jumping in, letting it drive us. Wants to go. We're observing it. We say, "I see you, sadness," but that doesn't mean I'm going to follow you into that. Okay, and we're going to have one of the most important things. Okay, clarity without confusion, emotion without action, without resistance. So when it's time to act, we don't resist it. We know what to do, and we're not afraid to do it. We know which way to just go. If we are supposed to rest, we rest. We're supposed to go, we don't resist that. No more fighting our purpose and our passion and our destiny. It's now time that we step into that. Be who we're supposed to be so that we can receive what it is that we are supposed to receive. So we want this to not only develop but showcase our ability to observe, right? Showcase our ability to know thoughts in our mind, to be able to see it but not be swept away. So we know that chaos is going on, but it doesn't make us chaotic. And then we're allowed to choose the thoughts and actions that consistently reflect our inspired life. This is about uplifting ourselves, being empowered, and then going out and inspiring others. So as we open up, we're going to talk about the reactive mind versus the illumined observer. When we're reacting and then when we're observing, this is where integration becomes illumination. Keep the light on for you. Wow, I wanted to say that. Motel 6. Anyway, the guiding question that we start with that I have for us today is, where in your life does your mind still feel like a wild horse, reactive, easily spooked, and running old programs, rather than a wise, steady companion that you ride with grace and direction? So where's your mind still out of control? Where in your life mind feel reactive to everything, easily spooked? Oh, they said something. I heard the news and I got afraid. Uh, Running those old programs from your childhood, your teenage years, young adult, whatever it was, versus feeling like something that is stable, feeling like something that you can rely on, feeling like something that is wise, that is a companion to you. So where in your life does your mind still feel like that wild horse? And keep that in mind as we go through this discussion. Keep that in mind as you continue to flow through each moment of your day. You know, when you're saying, this is where I see that my mind is acting like a wild horse. Then we also want to notice when we're not acting like that. Because to be honest, we're good at pointing out faults and negatives, but we can't find a positive to save our life. I swear. You're right in front of your face, and you'll see something negative instead of seeing something that's worth investing in, which are positives, which is yourself. We're the biggest haters. We're our biggest doubters. And we're reversing that now. In week 1, we talked about seeing clearly, right? Having the vision. We started this month off talking about how we need to see clearly to have the vision, because we knew that if we're going to be illumined, if we're going to integrate, we got to see clearly. We have to know what to take with us and what not to, what is ours and what is not. We also have to see ourselves clearly, the true value that resides in us, and stop believing that there's lack. In week 2, we move to feeling truthfully. We're coming from the heart. We want to feel truthfully. This was about being able to discern our emotions, because what we felt would betray us. We might feel this way, but it wasn't actually real. So we want to feel truthfully. In week 3, we talked about acting. This is when we brought in the will, because when we're acting purposefully, when we're doing things on purpose, when we have our intent, that's our will. We say, I will do this. I will or I won't. Well, the will is the action. And now in week 4, we are putting that all together, because illumination is incomplete by itself. So with the illumination, we need integration and mastery. Yet again, when we hear that word mastery, we may think of an end result. Integration, when we're talking about integrating, that's the knowing. So you're integrating what you know, this knowledge. It's the knowing. It becomes a part of you. It's integrated. You then know it. So when we know something, well, they say when you know better, you do better. So our problem that we have is either we didn't know better, or what we knew did not attribute to us doing better. So we didn't have the mastery, because integration is knowing, mastery is the embodiment, mastery is the being. Mastery is not the end result at the end when everything is done. Mastery is each day that you're going, you embodying this life, you being inspired to never stop prospering requires effort daily. That's the mastery when you begin to embody that. When you are getting up every day and you're like, I'm putting the required effort daily, that's your mastery. Those steps that you took to get through that day to the next day, that's your mastery. You're embodying this life. When we know, but we don't embody, that's an imbalance. You'd be like, I know. That's a pet peeve of mine. When I'm talking to somebody and they just be like, yeah, I know. And it's like, you know, why we even on the phone then? Why is you coming to me saying you need my help if you gonna sit here and say you know? If you know, then we ain't doing it. And because you know and you're not doing it is what's actually causing the imbalance in your life. So all that you know, you better start doing it. You better start embodying, right? You bring and taking all this in. So when we begin to integrate, that's the moment that it becomes real. Integration is the moment that that light becomes your lived wisdom. So you not actually embodying it, you're not living life. And last week we talked about faith. If it is not with works, it's dead, being alone. So if you have the knowledge, but you're not embodying it, you're dead. You know, but you ain't doing. You're halfway. And this is why our life feels the way that it does, because we're not actualizing, we're not fulfilling, we ain't standing on business, we pretending. For in Ephesians, our first anchor comes from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8. And it says, for ye were sometimes darkness, for now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now you're the light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. See, and what I love about this is when we actually are taking the time to understand things, it seems like it'd be clear as day. When we trying to let somebody else tell us what it is, then the confusion comes. But it says, what I love is how it talks about the past, the present, and now the future. It says, what you used to be, ye were sometimes darkness. You was, but now are ye light in the Lord. Now you the light. So walk way to remind you that's what you was before. This is what you are now. So quit playing. Used to be darkness, now you are light. Walk as the light. It's not just something that you perceive, it is something you become. And we become that through how we walk through this light. Used to be darkness. Now you are of the light. Act like you know, you better walk accordingly. Because all that playing you're doing is why your life feel that way. Why you feel like you're in trouble? Because you're playing around. You know better. You know what you do. Keep telling yourself. You heard spirit tell you and send you the signs, and you asked and you received and then you denied. It's on you. So the key to life, the light must be lived. It must be lived. You got to embody this. Illumination is not a moment. It is not. It is a way. It is through the world. You move through the world illumined with the light on. And this integration, this begins to occur when what you see, our vision, what we feel, our emotions, and what we do, our actions align. We become, we integrate these. This light becomes integrated in our life when our vision, our emotions, and our actions align. So you see it, you feel it, you gotta do it. Sometimes you see it, then you question if you feel it, and you don't do it. Sometimes you question if you see it, you like, I think I feel it, and you don't do it. No, when you see it, I see that. Y'all felt that? Sorry, I gotta go. I know what I need to do. When alignment occurs, the effort decreases. All of a sudden, things become easier. You're like, whoa, what? And now your flow increases. This is when we're in the zone now. We've been, basket done got bigger now. We just like, what? I'm just throwing it in there. I'm in the zone. We're in the flow. We're aligned. The vision, the emotions, the action. We're not just seeing things and not believing them. We're not feeling things and then questioning. We're not just sitting around after we saw it and we felt it and then we just, nope. I'm gonna still sit right here because I'm waiting on nothing. Waiting on death because your faith and you ain't working. So what you trying to do? Trying to be a zombie. And our anchor that we have for this to remind us that the light must be lived, to show us that the light must be lived, comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it says, and be not world. I conform to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Not his, not hers, not mine, of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And be not. That's the first thing he said. And be not, but don't you be conformed by this world. Don't you go out there and let them people change you and tell you who you need to be and who you're not. Don't do that. We had this terminology in football, bend but don't break. And say, hey, don't be conformed by that world. Do not let them people go out there and try to confuse you. They're going to turn off your light. Don't let that happen. What you should do, what you can do, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing. So my question is, where in the hell did we get this idea that I'm too old? I can't do it. Past my prime. It says, be ye transformed by the renewing. Meaning your mind can always be renewed like them library books that we used to get. And you probably never took them back. So then you got a late fee and late charge. That's the same thing that's happening when you're not renewing your mind. You don't renew your mind, those old outdated thoughts, late fees. Bro, you're accruing charges for that. Because why are you still thinking like that? Why are you still doing that? That's outdated. You've had that too long. You are to be transformed. To be this, you is no longer that anymore. Transformers, robots in disguise. That was a car. All of a sudden, you turned to Bumblebee. You said, what the hell? This car turned into a robot? When you are transformed, you went from someone who was incapable to somebody who's capable, someone who doubted to someone who believes, someone who couldn't to someone who can, who is, won't, will, be not conformed, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. So while you sitting around talking about this person and oh my God, I can't believe they think like that and why, it don't matter because you have not renewed your mind. So you're not transformed. You're trifling. You're trespassing. It is your mind. Don't matter about your neighbor. It don't matter about your friend. It don't matter about your sister, your brother, your daughter, your son. It does not matter if your mind ain't renewed, if you're not transformed, then you just conform. And the reason why you're not to conform, the reason why you are to be transformed by the renewing of your mind is so that you may prove what everybody else is out here doubting. Oh, that ain't real. This don't exist. Every time we drop a video, somebody in the comments, oh, this is a lie. This ain't real. Because they are unable to prove. They expect you to do it. They watching me, expecting my life to prove something for their life. All you're going to do is watch me get everything that is mine. When I said we coming to get it all, everything we lost, we getting it all back, you're going to sit around and watch it. And all it's going to do is produce more fears, uncertainty, and doubt. You're going to wonder how we got that. You're going to say, oh, you're going to start gossiping and doing all those things. Why? Because you were conformed to this world, not transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you lost your mind when we sought and we found. You say, oh, I can't believe it. How come they can get all those things? Because we were transformed by the renewing of our mind. And each member of this community is transformed by the renewing of their mind. To be transformed and have your mind renewed is to recognize that that old life you was living is now gone, and this new life where we live inspired every day forever, because that is life. And in order for that to be life, we must never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. Well, how do I get this effort daily? You want to live, you listen, invite, verify, express, and experience. Well, how do I get that? Take the leap. What does that mean? Locate, engage, anchor, propel. We ain't playing no here just talking to you to try and say cliche things or to try and fill your head up or give you a good feeling for a moment and then we gone. This ain't motivation. This is inspiration. This is turning the light on. This is lighting the torch. And then you go take your torch, your candle, your light, and light someone else's. This is where we are transformed, because we are here to prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And we ain't got time to play with you. We ain't going to play with you. We're here to prove. I ain't trying to prove you wrong. It said nothing about proving nobody wrong. It said prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect. So you're just proving ourselves right, because you are good, you are acceptable, and you are perfect. You didn't even know it. We ain't got time to try and prove them wrong because they think you're no good. It's not acceptable, and you're not perfect. So you're trying to prove them wrong? No, we're going to prove ourselves right. For that is the will of God. Mastery, therefore, is an inner sovereignty. Sovereignty. That word is, without your sovereignty, am I me? I can't be sovereign if I can't dictate what I want and what I need, then who am I? Mastery is sovereignty. It is that active renewing. This is a conscious daily transformation that we're doing. And it just happens that over time it's going to compound. We can't look every second of the day and expect to say, what, is it there yet? No. You're focused on the renewing. You're focused on the daily transformation of our thought patterns, which is going to transform our actions and experiences in our lives. And one day after the first, matter of fact, in a week, it's going to be what? January 1st, we'll be celebrating the new year. Would it not be, shout out to Stephen A. Smith, asinine, if we, after January 1st, we woke up the next day and was like, January over? Over? Boy, it's been one day. You know, it's about 28 to 30 before we get to a new month. So why do we think we're going to take one step and then all of a sudden we expecting a different life? We have one thought and we think that that's the end. Daily. and we just keep walking every day, we reach there. We are not, are we there yet? Are we there yet? We're knowing life. And so a Vedic or yogic perspective of this. Yoga Sutra 1.2, not the first sutra, which tells us what is yoga. 1.2 is now going to introduce us. Let me just tell you what it says. Yoga Sutra 1.2 says yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind stuff. Chitta, vritti, bodha. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind stuff. Swami Vivekananda says that yoga is restraining the mind stuff, chitta, from taking various forms, vrittis, VRITTIS. So the pinnacle, the highest form of our mastery, of mastering our mental, is not more thoughts. We're not thinking more and more and more and more and more. It is stillness. That is the consciousness, our inner light, our spirit. That's what shines forth, and it's unobstructed. It's like when you go outside and there's clouds and it's overcast, you don't see the sun. The sun's still shining. So what we're saying is that in the pinnacle of mastering our mental, we just become more still. And in that stillness, the overcast moves out. There's no clouds. We can see the sun. The sun is shining unobstructed. We are shining unobstructed. We are that light. We are living life unobstructed. And I want to kind of go more into that before I move on to the next universal perspective, because I think that that's very important. Because we have in the Western world, we like to take and flip them around. If you gave it to us like left to right, we're going to flip it right to left. If you gave it to us down up, we're going to flip it around, make it up down. Always going to change things. And so I always want to give understanding, some type of clarity, so that we are doing less of this attacking each other and more of understanding each other. Oh, that's where you're coming from. Oh, okay. Because you think you better than somebody, or when it's like we're saying the same thing, you speak a different language. And that's the confusion I think that has happened, because we speak different languages and something is interpreted, you just change this meaning. And then we end up losing our way. Without further ado though, breaking down, and I may be butchering the way that you say this. So again, I'm working on my pronunciation and enunciation. I don't speak, I speak English. So enunciation is big. So again, please forgive me if I'm butchering these words, but yogas, okay? We did our research so we can make sure we get the right definitions for these things. Yoga. I know we think that it's, we go get our workout pants and our dollar lattes and we go hot yoga or listen to music and we like, I did that. And that's fine. Not knocking you. I just want you to understand that yoga simply means to yoke, to join, to unite. Okay. So chitta is the mind or consciousness. Vritti, modifications or fluctuations. And nirodha is controlling or quieting of. So when they say chitta, vritti, nirodha, the yogas, it's saying that we're coming together to unite or join the mind or consciousness by quieting or controlling modifications and fluctuations. So in yoga, we're simply bringing together mind and consciousness, removing the fluctuations, quiet, still. So where we think yoga is all this namaste, cool. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to actually bring together, to quiet the mind, to control the fluctuations, you ain't doing nothing but putting on. You look good though. I see the pictures and cheers, namaste. But it's really about a being. It's about life for real. It's about embodiment. And it's imperative that we understand that. Not so we can say, oh, I'm better than you and So you can now walk into yoga class, y'all ain't doing nothing. No, it's just so you can understand what you're doing, because so many people are becoming more fearful, uncertain, and doubtful about what to do, how to do, where to go, and why. This is what we're telling you. You don't have to be so afraid when you hear meditation, when you hear yoga, when you hear these things, because it's talking about being one with the Most High, reuniting with Spirit, with God, with the universe. We don't need to be afraid of that. We need to understand more of what it actually looks like in our personal life, so that we can do that for ourselves, and so that we can begin to receive what it is that we need to receive. So as we move on universally, we go to the Buddhists. And Buddhist psychology says that you're not your thoughts. Wait, what? You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind the thoughts. Huh? You behind. You in the back. Just like you sitting in the back. What they're saying is like, how we use this? We look at this, talking about the sun earlier, right? If you look at the sky and then you see the clouds, is the sky the clouds, or the clouds in the sky? You are the vast sky, the awareness. You're not the passing clouds. Those clouds are like your thoughts. They constantly just moving through the sky. The sky is your awareness. You are the awareness, not the thoughts. But so many times we watching each thought go past, we get confused and we thinking that we're the thought, because we're not being aware. So when we're talking about mastery, embodiment, that is learning to just abide in the sky. Just be in the sky. You're not following the thoughts. It said that thought came up, you watched it, and you saw where it went. Then the next one came up and you watched it, and you saw where it went. We're not like literally becoming these things where all of us now, when I have that sad thought, I'm sad. I'm not even understanding why that even came about, where it came from. I just followed it right into sadness. At a certain point, you need to understand that and be like, ooh, okay. I'm aware of this feeling that is coming up, but I'm not going to act on it. All right. And talking as a man, talking to other men, that's one of your biggest issues. Acting out on all your emotions, what you feel, you act on it. You feel lust and you act out on the lust. You're not even able to control it. Be like, you know what? Nah, it controls you. So our mastery is flipping this. I see that. But not right now. You don't get to dictate. Imagine if your children was dictating you. That's your thoughts. They rule you. And this is why you're exhausted, because you're not dictating your thoughts. Tell them to calm down. Go sit down somewhere. I told you you're not eating right now. You're going crazy because the kids are yelling and screaming and I ain't done. Hey man, go sit down somewhere. I feel fear coming up. Hey, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Almost got me. Are things that we want to get to. I don't want to say it as if we're condemning you for having that, because you're yourself for having that. What we are saying this is so you can stop doing it. You're like, damn, I do be doing that. Well, then how can I just start to watch them, to observe them? Like my kids is playing outside, I'm observing them. Hey, watch out! Stop! No, don't do that. Hey, I'm just observing them. Okay. You learn through observation. So if we're not observing our thoughts, we're following them. So we're not learning through observation. We keep crashing into a wall and then be like, what happened? Damn it, I follow my anger again. Get into some depression. Damn, what happened? Well, I follow my sadness all the way down to the bottom again. Damn. This is where we need to be, where you're like, my anger got me that time. Okay, you ain't gonna get next time. I followed you all the way down into depression. What? You know what? When I get out of this, I'm not doing that again. But what happens is we fall it down, and now we're beating ourselves up because we reacted, and because how does that help any more than what was already happening? Now you got people who gonna come tag team with you, like, you beating up on yourself. Hey, tag me. I want to help. What we doing? Kicking. We're gonna help you beat up on yourself. This is why I say do not be conformed by society, because society will help you beat yourself to death. Matter of fact, they gonna come in, they'll start doing the kicking and punching for you. Hey, stop. We'll take over. We don't want that. We don't want that. In particular, Seneca says, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. He says, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. And I know when we hear that, we say unconquerable. So then how do you keep telling me that I am supposed to gain control over something that's unconquerable? I can't conquer my mind. So Seneca is talking about, because in Stoic, there is a term, I think it's apatheia. So the term apatheia is the freedom, right, from being ruled by passion. So we just talked about lust before. Freeing yourself from being ruled by that, where you're following it down into a hole. Now you're just so when we're talking about mastery in Stoicism, it is freedom from being ruled by those destructive passions. Yet to be unconquerable does not mean stiff or rigid. It does mean that it's resilient. So to be unconquerable means you are resilient, not rigid. Something that is rigid is hard to, can't shape it. You can't move it. It's not doing anything. It'll break. Something that is resilient will keep going, growing, changing. This is what it's talking about your mind. So it's not that you conquer it, standing on top of it, continue to the point where we're shaping our mind for our life to lead us. Right now, our mind may have been shaped and is ruled by external factors. It's ruled by the outside. It's ruled by society. Well, we can reshape it. We can renew it, transform it, so that now it is undisturbed by those external. Now it's a companion to us. It's not that wild horse anymore that's easily distracted, spooked. We're now observing the thoughts and the emotions, and then choosing which ones we need at that time. And now we're able to go out in our purpose, developing our passions. Like you say, dual wielding. You've unlocked your archetype, who you are now. And in Sufism, we have Rumi. Rumi says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Oh, I remember them days. I said I wanted to change the world. Then I got wise and I said, you know what? I'm gonna just change myself. You know how many have this grand idea that you change the world? I mean, we see it every day. This is why many people are apt to give advice to others that they cannot or are not willing to take for themselves. This is why we can always point at somebody and tell you what they're doing wrong, but we won't do the right things in our own life. We want to change the world. It's easier to point at outside of ourselves and say something's wrong over there. It's easy, right? Easier. It doesn't mean it's the right, on the right side of things to do. Does it mean that it's fulfilling? Nor does it mean that it is going to prosper you. Nor does it mean that it's healthy. It's just easy. We're inclined to do easy things. But our greatest gift is that we make difficult things look easy. We created planes and people's flying, right? We're able to see the planets in the sky, the stars. We know the galaxy almost in and out. One thing we don't know is ourselves. We keep being outside. And if we go inside, not only will you know all the mysteries of the world, you're going to know the most important thing, who you are. Let me put these back on. You kind of shining bright, bro. It's kind of bright. You're going to know who you are. And if you know who you are, you know where you need to go. And if you know where you need to go, then you won't be where you're not supposed to be, where you don't need to be, worrying about things you don't need to worry about. Matter of fact, when you know who you are and you know where you're headed, you're now focused only on that in the present moment. You are now not afraid to be still. You are daily, every day we're finding ways to be transformed. So it is not until we get into the business of changing ourselves that we even understand or identify with God in the first place. Until that point, you don't know who it is. You have no clue. We are just talking about what somebody else told us. And then we're pointing fingers at people that we don't understand when they say something. And point a finger, I don't like that. Judge not. And we don't even understand that. Go within thyself. Know thyself. For Changing yourself is the most powerful illumination available. You want to know things you don't know, just start studying yourself. Start to take the steps to change yourself and watch. That same person you thought was and either didn't know nothing, that had bad luck, that could never do this, that was incapable of this, that was all of a sudden you're gonna start seeing like, wait a minute, what? Who was that? Appreciation for one of the greatest things to ever exist. And that's yourself. Made in the image of God. And you doubt that. We just want you to live inspired every day forever. We want you to be renewed in life. Out with the old life, in with the new life. And so to do that, we have talked about it. And practices so that we can embody that, so that we can walk about it. So our life action, which is the practice that we have every week, this is where you get to practice. Okay. The other step is the LEAP protocol. You can get from us by DMing us, becoming part of our newsletter, or joining in on the live discussion on Noonbar. But this practice is where we can apply what we're talking about. So the practice that we have developed for this discussion, week 4, we talked about the lighthouse last week. The lighthouse mind. We're turning the lights on upstairs, okay? And so this practice is for cultivating that steady light within. So we talk about embodying and aligning and being illuminated. Well, this is the steps of how we get there. I told you, it's not enough for us just to be like, I want to go. Yes, please. I'm asking God for these things. And then we sit around like this. No, this is the action. Okay. Faith, if is without works, these are the works so that you are not dead. So the first step in our mental sovereignty practice, all right, is about grounding. Okay. So this is where you establish your foundation. Ground. You're going to sit down. And when we sit, we don't want to be slouched over like this. Okay. So we're going to sit with our spine straight. Okay. If you need a chair back, then get a chair that you can brace the back. But if you're able to sit straight up with your spine straight, your feet on the floor, you're going to place your hands on your knees. No, but you're going to place your hands on your knees, right? And you're going to feel the foundation. That's why this is called grounding. Because to sit with our spine straight, with our feet touching the floor, and our hands on our knees, hands on your knees, this is where we become grounded. Matter of fact, if you can just picture yourself sitting in this position, right? It looks powerful. This don't look too powerful. Let me sing like this. This is a power position. So we're grounded in that. Your foundation is power. Your foundation is strong. So this is us rebuilding that foundation, that temple, okay? So we're going to feel our foundation, which is our body. Feel our body. I feel my feet around. We're going to feel our breath, the inhalation and the pause and the exhalation. You're going to actually feel that. A lot of us haven't felt our breath before, okay? In through the nose, out the mouth. You're going to feel the earth that's below you because your feet is on the ground. If you can't feel either the floor or if you're outside, you can do this outside in the grass. You want to feel that. And at that point, as you have grounded, you felt your foundation, you breathing. As you're breathing, you're feeling these things. I can feel my body. I can feel the ground. I'm going to affirm in this moment that I am rooted. I am stable. So at this moment, we are rooted and we are stable. Okay. Step 2, is to the storm. So this is where we're the witness. Yes, you're the witness. All y'all who like snitching, you're a witness now. You get to witness. That's all you're doing is watching, nosy. Like you watch your neighbors and be like, well, I can't believe what they're doing over there. This is you witnessing yourself. Okay. You're going to close your eyes. How am I supposed to put my eyes closed? How are you supposed to witness when I'm open? You're going to close your eyes. We're grounded. You are safe. Close your eyes. And you're going to imagine in your mind, or that your mind is a vast ocean. We close our eyes, and now we are seeing this vast ocean. And what you want to do is notice your thoughts as the waves. There's waves of worry in your mind, clashing. You've ever been to the ocean? You've seen the ocean in the movies, the waves, and in your mind, you're seeing those waves. And the waves are of worry. All the things that you may worry about. You're getting gusts, the wind, your memory. You're having the fog, you're seeing fog. That's your to-dos, right? This is what you're visualizing in your mind. And we're doing this so we create that clear picture. We're witnessing. What we're not going to do is we're not going to fight them. We're not going to see them ways of worry and start worrying. We're not going to the fog, the to-do list of this is what I do today and I got to do today. We're not going to start worrying about that and then try to open our eyes and be like, oh, I got to do this today. And no, the gusts of memory that come back where it's like, remember what you're supposed to be doing this right now, or from yesterday, or a year ago, 5 years, whatever it is, we're not going to fight them, right? A lighthouse, because that's what we're embodying right now. That lighthouse is literally sitting there on the shore. It's fixed to a point. It observes. That's what we want to do. We want to see these things. We want to see the worries that you have. You want to notice the memories as they come up. You want to hear all those different voices about the anxieties or whatever it is that is telling you that you have to do. You just don't want to fight them. You don't want to necessarily try and combat them. Just watch them. And then whisper to your, I am not the storm. I am the light that watches it. Because if the lighthouse is there and there is a storm going around, the lighthouse is just there. And what we are wanting to become in our lives is that lighthouse, that steadiness, not reacting to everything that goes on, but being that beacon. For any ship that is lost can find its way. So anytime we do get lost in our thoughts and the worries and concerns, we're able to come back to that stillness. We're able to remind ourselves to witness, not to fight, not to follow, just to witness. What is this? What's this thought? I see you. I acknowledge you. But I'm not fight you. And then we center. We're grounded ourselves. We're now witnessing those thoughts as they come up. Now we want to begin to center ourselves. We want to bring our attention to the center of our mind, to the center of our head, the seat of the mind, right? This is where your mind sits. Go to the center. And as you're visualizing this, be calm. This is what the breath is supposed to do. If you're, that's not a calm breath. We want to ourselves. Because if you think about you being alarmed, you having too much energy, you being too anxious, it's hard to discern in those moments. It's hard to really receive. You try to talk to somebody who ain't listening, it's hard to communicate. If you try to express to something, if you ever knew somebody who was frantic and you tried to calm them down, you understand the difficulty in that. So we want to be calm in these situations so that we can see what we need to see and receive what we need to receive. So being calm in this moment, all right, we're going to start to visualize this light or this flame. That's your awareness. And every breath you take, you're feeding that light or that flame. So it's getting bigger, brighter. You're feeling this light grow steady. You're feeling that warmth. We're centering ourselves. Then we want to begin to clarify. We're going to take that inner light and begin to direct it onto that recurring reactive thought that you keep having. The one that keeps telling you you're not ready. The one that keeps telling you, what if they don't like it? What if they disapprove? What if they leave? You're not going to analyze it. Not here to try and overanalyze and try to figure out the who, what, where, when, and why. No, we just want to illuminate it. We want to shine that light on it. Okay? Remember, we're calm. This light is also warm. That warmth is gentle. That is compassion. And we want to use that light with our awareness until we begin to loosen those emotions. Those emotions begin to either soften or dissolve. You start to shine that light on it. I'm not ready. You're not overanalyzing, trying to say, why am I not ready? You're just shining the light on, I'm not ready. And we're going to witness that. And when we're saying using this light that is warm, is gentle, is compassionate, it means that when you are hearing or when you're seeing that you're not ready, you're not being rigid with yourself, with that person. It may not even be you right now. You may have seen a picture of you as a teenager, as a young adult, yesterday, a week ago. And we want to give that image, that person, that compassion, that warmth. And this is going to begin to soften. It's going to dissolve that I am not ready. The reason why that I am not ready or that concern is so strong now is because we keep feeding it. When we think about I am not ready, we keep seeing all the ways we're not ready, hearing all the ways we're not ready, explaining and exclaiming why we're not ready. That's not compassion, not clarifying. So this process is so we remove that. We dissolve that. I'm not ready. And underneath that, you're going to notice I am ready. We're going to dissolve that. What if they disapprove? And underneath that, you're going to recognize that it didn't matter. Because if they disapprove, but you approve, and you went with their disapproval, you went against yourself. You're going against God. Because that thought that you had didn't come from them. Yet, because it didn't come from them, when they gave you the thought, they said, I don't like that. You accepted that. And we're changing this. And so with our next step, we went from establishing our foundation, grounding ourselves. We witnessed observing the storm. We centered ourselves by igniting that beacon, that flame. We started to scan to illuminate so we can clarify where I saw the issue. Okay. These recurring reactive thoughts that I keep having to say, I'm not ready. Now we're going to anchor. We're going to embody this. We talk about placing a hand on our hearts so that you can feel that center. And then we're going to place one on our head so we can connect these two spaces. Put your hands together like this for a reason. You have a lot of power in your hands when it comes to being able to feel and move your energy. So we want to be able to put one on our heart and one on our head because we want to breathe deeply and affirm that my mind is clear, my spirit is steady, and that I am the light. I am the light. And posture into our next activity, into the rest of our day, whatever it is that you're about to do. You're going to sleep, whatever, but you want to establish that affirmation of a clear mind, a ready spirit, and that you are the light. Because once you do that, that person that says, my mind is clear, my spirit is steady, I am the light is not going to say I'm not ready. So if we're taking that energy into our next activity, we're ready for that. We're hitting it head on. We're embodying the energy that we need. We're embodying who we need to be. That resilient, that confident person. Not the person who thinks of lack and swears they're not ready and is worried about all. We weren't even prescribed that. That's not from God. So whereas it's from the world that we are not supposed to try and be in. Yet we seem to be made more and more in it each day. So this is how we begin to remove ourselves from that and get back in tune, get back aligned. And so what I would like you to write into your journal is, how has my inner light changed how I move through the world? How has my inner light changed how I move through the world? Now, this could be a positive or a negative. The inner light has changed how you move through the world because you have more light in you, so now you move this way. Or it's changed you because maybe you have less of it, so it forces you to move that way. Whichever way you see fit. Please don't do a disservice to yourself and not do the journals, not do the exercises, because again, that's us going back to knowing and not doing it. And we're here to embody. So as we move to close this out, we're going to talk about we're going to contrast. We discussed what the issues were, what it was. We developed a practice for ourselves. Now for our mind, we're going to contrast these two. We got to juxtapose them together and see what the difference is, because discernment. So fragmentation and integration. If we're fragmented and if we're integrated, right? We are now contrasting the turbulent mind versus the observer, the luminous observer, the one who is observing versus the one who's calm versus chaos. So understanding fragmentation, we are fragmented. This is when we know what to do, but we ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. I know, and I'm just listening to you say I know. So then what's the issue then if you know? When we are fragmented, we know what to do, but we're not gonna do it. Why? Because at this point, the mind is the master. Who's the master? Shona is the mind. And that puts us in a reactive state. Because again, think about that. If you're not the master, if you ain't in charge, you ain't got no choice but to react. Wait until you're told what to do. The mind's in control, so you just react to whatever it tells you to do. It's the master. So when the thoughts come up, you believe them right away without a shadow of a doubt. Instantly. As soon as it pop up, boom. And because of that, when that thought pops up, instantly, guess what happens? The emotions is triggered. This is automatic. You might just woke up in the morning, triggered, like what? And because we're not, we can guarantee that we're going to be triggered multiple points, multiple times throughout the day, because there's people that are knowing this and they're triggering you on purpose because we're fragmented. The mind is in control. When we're fragmented, we have a sense of being that is the victim. So who are you? I'm a victim to my circumstances, to my moods, to my life, and there is nothing that I can do to stop lying to yourself. You're fragmented. So you think you're a victim, right? You don't recognize you can change your mood. You can change your circumstances. When we're fragmented, our energy is scattered. It's like everywhere and nowhere. It's all over the place. We make decisions based off fear. I'm going to do this because I'm afraid of that happening. And what's crazy is, where the hell do we get being afraid from? Being afraid is learned behavior. And who teaches us to be afraid? That which we are told not to be conformed to. The world teaches you to be afraid, and the world keeps you afraid. And therefore, you make your decisions off of that fear. When you meet somebody who is not afraid, all of a sudden, that person is a problem. So what we're saying is the problem is that you're not afraid. What does that mean? The problem is that you're aligned. The problem is that you're illumined. The problem is that you're sovereign. The problem is that you are connected to the Most High. You know God. Oh, that's not good. We can have you thinking that, no, I'm a victim. There's nothing I do. Woe is me. Believing every thought that comes to your mind instantly, always being emotionally triggered, manipulated, so I can push you and pull you wherever I want you to go. You're not in control, so you can be controlled. Because your energy is scattered, you ain't got the strength or the power to change it. And so you make your decisions based off fear. I'm going to hide in here because if I go out there, I'm afraid. You're supposed to be hiding, period. I mean, it truly does not mean you are. What faith-based book you adhere to, we do that in every single one of them. It tells you the same thing more times than not. Does it matter? In all of these religions, philosophies, doctrines, every single one of them, one thing that is said to you over and over and over and over and over and over and over again is to not be afraid. So if we making decisions based off fear, we already in the wrong mode anyway. We fragmented and we're here to be whole. So we need to integrate. And to be integrated is to live what you know naturally. What I know naturally is that it is possible and probable to live inspired every day forever. What I know naturally is that's life. So I live it naturally. You live it naturally. So where fragmentation creates this internal friction, this integration creates the peace and the power that we need. Because this is where our awareness is the master, not our mind. We become illumined in this state. We start to know. Not only do I know what to do, I'm going to do it. That's illumined. See, you fragmented. You know what to do, but you're not going to do it. We know what to do, and we're going to do it. How do you know the difference? Those who are fragmented know what to do and they're going to tell you. Those who are illumined know what to do and they're going to show you. You ain't got time to be talking about it. There was a time that we said everything we were going to do. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we never did it. I'm going to do this tomorrow. Didn't do it. I'm going to do this. Ooh, I want to do this. Never did it. Then got to a point where we said, okay, God put his hands, showed us what we need to see, and said, ooh, now I'm living what I know. Ain't no more arguing with you. No more debating. You can do that in the comment section. Debate all you want to. I won't be there. Because we're too busy living. We're too busy in this life. So that means we witness our thoughts. We don't react to them. So they're just passing. We went, oh, look at that thought they went past. Okay, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. Calm. We're not reacting to everything. And we focus our energy because we make decisions based off of value, not fear. Because what? Fear what? Like for real. Fear what? Death? You don't fear death. You fear life. You don't fear death, and we can do on this. You fear life. You fear actually being who you're supposed to be. You fear embodying and living inspired every day forever. You don't fear death. You fear that you're going to have to wake up every day and put that effort. You fear that, oh my, I am somebody. I am enough. And then what do I do with that? I got to show up every single day. You fear being who you're supposed to be. And be not afraid. For Buddha tells us, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. See, Buddha's straightforward. Normally, Buddha might talk to you and he's like, what? He's straightforward. The Bible said, not come to this world. Buddha said, hey, peace comes from within. Don't go seek it without. Don't go out looking for it because you ain't going to find it because it comes from in here. And anybody that's been out there, you know that the peace ain't out there. Because every time we go outside, what they doing? They warring. They're warring over something. Peace comes from within. When we begin to integrate, we end our inner conflict. And if I'm ending my internal conflict, who am I conflicting with outside? It's in me, not on me. It is up to me to begin to live my life in a way that reflects that inner self, not the outer self. Be not afraid. So I have to develop my life so I'm not afraid. To be illumined, so I have to develop my life so that I can walk into that illumination. For the wisdom that we have is to become the light that we have cultivated. For in this life, you are meant to be inspired. And I hope that you never stop prospering, that you give the required effort daily so that you can live inspired every day, forever, because that's life.